Okay, so now that we are done with understanding the concepts, whatever we have understood like async, await, promises, try and catch, now we will implement all of that in our project. So first of all, we'll define this function. We'll make this function which we called here on the on click button, that is get weather info. So we'll define this function here, that will be const get weather info, and this will be equal to a fat arrow function. Inside this will be some content. So I've defined the function, and now let me just tell you how you will use it in the use effect hook. Use effect hook. Okay, so this expects a function, fat arrow function basically. All right, and here you will be providing an dependency array. So inside the use effect, we want to call this function, which is the get weather info, because we want to call this function on every page refresh, and the dependency array is empty, which means that this function will be called only when the page refreshes for the first time, like for the first time, and then it will not, like only one time this function will be executed, and after that it will be not executed, just once it will be executed. Right, now let's go to the get weather info function. So here we will write the try and catch blocks which we just discussed. So this will be having curly braces inside this. So we also have a catch for that, so we'll define it later. So inside the try and inside the try, let me just write let URL. So here we'll provide the URL. URL means the endpoint, the API endpoint, which will be fetching data for us. Okay, so here we'll be using that. So let me take you to the browser from where we'll find this. We'll find it here. So this is the endpoint basically, and let me just comment it and paste it here. So let me find my API. I've pasted it here. I've commented it and pasted it here. Give it a little space so that it looks a little clean. Let me just go to the browser and let me find my API key inside my API keys. So this one I'll be using one. Then I'll go back to my IDE, and here I'll paste it. All right. Now let me just check if this is working inside the browser. So we just paste it, and inside the city name you will provide a city name which is Mumbai. Okay, our API key is working. So let me just copy this URL now, and this will be used by us. Now let's go back to the Visual Studio Code, and we'll provide the URL here. Okay, this is the URL. Let me delete this comment. So now what we're gonna do is, here we have provided this name Mumbai by ourselves, but I want the search term to get passed here, because the city which the user is searching, that should be passed here, and the data should be returned respectively for that thing. So here I'll be providing backticks, because I'll be using a ECMAScript 5 inside this. That will be the variable I'll be passing here. So I will delete Mumbai, and here I'll be providing a $sign and curly braces. Inside this I'll be providing the search term. Alrighty. So next, let me just turn on the word wrap. Looks clean, and next we'll go on some of the other things. So inside this, now we'll capture the result. So let res, so this is the variable which will be capturing the result. Await, we are using await, Await means why we are using await, because we are waiting for the data to come back, and we are passing the URL here inside the fetch. Next we are converting that data to JSON, so that will also take some time. So await for the res.json. So this res variable and .json will convert it into JSON format if it's not in JSON. Like, this is the precautionary thing, right? So if that does not convert into JSON, so this will convert into JSON. Alrighty. So I think now we got the data, and after this, after the try thing, we will write the catch. So if there's an error, so we'll write catch. Inside this we'll write error. Oh, what spelling I use? Some people just write err, like you can pass whatever. So catch an error. Inside this there would be the console.log, and it will console log the error. Why I write spelling mistake of error? All right, so this will console and log the error message. So let me just console log the data. So console.log the data. So data is what is converted into JSON, right? So that I will be converting. So now I have to save this, and let me start off the server. So let me start the server. So because we need to run it in our browser, so let me just go to the website, I mean the directory, and that was weather. Then we'll write npm start. So this will start our server, and it can take few seconds because it generally takes that time. So I hope this is clear to you, because now we have called the API and the endpoint is also called. So this is giving us the hope to receive the data. Now we are getting an error here, which says unexpected reserved word, that is await. So what do you mean by this? Because I've already told you, you cannot use await if you are not using async. Like await is always used inside async. So here you will make this function async by providing async here. All right, so async. Now if I save it, now it should work. All right, this works, and let us go to the browser, and let me just see, and let me go to the console. Let me just see if something is being returned or not. Yes, 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 we are getting data. That's what we were expecting, right? We are getting data. So the wind speed and everything we are getting, that is what we wanted to check. Our API is working fine, we are getting it like according to our need. So that's all. Now we will move further. Okay, so how do we make this to the side? Can to side? Yes, like this. So now we are able to like view properly. So now we want this data, like, but you know the data is very much scattered. So like there are arrays, there are objects inside arrays. So how you will get that data, how you will fetch that data? So that's a challenge here. So you need to understand the structure, and then you need to just get that data. So now we'll get the data one by one. We'll destructure this array, so that is called destructuring the array. So we'll destructure the array one by one and get that data.